right, CFA Nation, Cricket for Americans. How are you doing? Nick?
Jody.
And Gabe, the night watchman in the house.
We are here for our segment of our 3 wickets for this first ODI match with England against Ireland or Ireland. Joey's sporting the hat. I was sporting every Superman thing I could, hoping to give him some extra powers. It did not work out too well. Gabe, let's jump right into this. This match was not too competitive. Let's talk about what we disliked.
Oh boy, what did I dislike? I gotta say, it almost feels like the NBA. There's no competitive balance, because if they're saying that Ireland is the number 11 team, right? That's what they're ranked 11 in the world, and England is number 3, right? Or even if they're number 1, there shouldn't be that amount of disparity. But at no point did I feel, and I'm sorry, Jody, that there was any competition whatsoever. I'm sorry, they lost wickets so early, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it feels bad. It almost feels like the NBA, where you already know at the end of the season who's going to be standing. So why play the games in the middle? You know what I mean? And again, I realize that part of the reason with what's going on, and people have talked about it, Renil kind of talked me off the ledge. Like, look, smaller nations have less resources, right? So they don't have as good programs. May not have it, but still, it just didn't seem competitive to me. So that's what I disliked.
It was like kindergartners versus 4th graders.
Yeah.
I mean, Ireland tried. They really did. They put up a fight, but they just, once England went up to bat, it was just all downhill and fast. Ugh.
What I disliked was the bowling attack for Ireland. You know, the batsmen, they didn't do a great job, but they were at an early hole, 27 for 5, and they were still able to get, like, what was it, 172, 177, something like that. So they were able to hold their own as much as they could. But the bowlers, they got 3 semi-early wickets, and they weren't able to get the 4th until much later, and then there's no chance of getting that 5th. When they got the 4th, I was still thinking, oh, they'll still get at least 7 or 8 wickets before they get caught up. But they couldn't. They had no answer. And then all of a sudden, you had England. They just turned the switch on, and they were going for 4s or whatever. What I dislike on the England side, we forgot to do both sides, but it's okay. What I disliked on the England side, there wasn't much, but Bairstow, he showed up for 2. I mean, you got to do more than just showing up for 2. You're one of their bigger batsmen as far as performance goes. And I dislike that he went out for 2. I loved it as an Ireland fan to see them get a chance, but that's not what you want.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, I think, and I forgot to give my England side, what I disliked is that they send in their B team, bro. Like, I was excited to see, everybody says, hey, man, England's ODI team has been stacked. Everybody kept telling us Ben Stokes is on there. They got Root. They have Archer. And none of the names we're familiar with played. You send a B team in there, and I get it. They're trying to, because of this shortened COVID season, we got to rest guys because we're going to be playing a lot of games. Nick, to your credit, is always doing research. You were like, wow, England's playing a ton of games early. So the resting may be even the reason that they sat down my boy Stuart Broad for that very first test match of the first test series we saw against the West Indies. But I was expecting to see superstars. It's like, when you go see your Padres play and you're like, oh, yeah, we're going to go. We buy tickets. Machado's not playing today. Yeah, come on. It's why I bought the ticket. You know what I mean? Oh, so that frustrated me. That's what I did not like on the English side. Jody, my apologies. What did you not like?
You're good. I'm just curious going off of what you just said. Maybe they didn't play the big guys because they knew Ireland wasn't going to do so well. So they figured, let's just try and even up a little bit, not make it a wash. I'm just saying it's an option. I would not want to discredit anybody, but I don't know if I had anything I didn't like. It was my first ODI, so I was just enjoying and learning everything, observing a lot.
I was about to say, Jody, isn't like your dream vacation at like a mansion or castle, I think Nick said, in Ireland? Ease up, man. You may not be allowed in the country. They'll have pictures of you.
I support them. I love them. I'm just saying another thought. I don't know.
All right, so let's jump into what we liked what we liked. I'll let Jody go first.
Okay.
What did you like about each side?
I love the way England finished the match. I love just throwing it in with a sixer and calling it said and done. Yep. I mean, that is the way to end a game. You just, just go all out. I love that. I really enjoyed that. And then in Ireland, I really, really enjoyed watching. I cannot get his name right for the life of me. I forgot it again. Oh my gosh. Camphor.
It's like Camper.
But Camphor. I don't know why I cannot remember it, but I really enjoyed him. I enjoyed seeing him stay and lasting as long as he did. And he had such a great partnership with everybody he played with. I mean, he just kind of kept going. He was the most consistent player they had.
Yeah, I got to piggyback off that. I like Camphor on the Ireland side. I mean, he was, I don't want to say the only bright spot, but one of the few. He got a half century in his debut, which is awesome for him. He got a wicket as a bowler. So, I mean, he gave like a mini Stokes performance from the first 2 test matches, really. He, like Jody said, a great point by Jody. He was in 3 different partnerships. In the first 2, he and the other guy that he was with did really, really well. He was the glue that stuck around with that and helped them to get at least to 172 runs and not be completely outclassed. What I liked about the England side was, as Gabe was saying, the B team, these guys were hungry. These guys came out. They weren't like messing around with Ireland. They weren't like, we feel bad or it's been a while, we got rust. They went to them. They were doing the boundaries. They were doing the sixes. They were doing the singles. They weren't making any run-out mistakes. There was one almost run out, but they were able to correct that. They, even as a B team, if you want to call that, on all facets, they did really, really good. And obviously, how can you not love what Billings did? This guy, they were said he's not always a superstar, but he was doing really good in the IPL last year. Obviously, he carried that over into the 50-over ODI. I really like what Billings did.
Good call. I will say this. First and foremost, I got to piggyback off of Jody's 3 wicket, what she liked. That's how you finish off a game, okay? All he had to do was throw the cricket bat, and it would have just looked just like Joey Bats' walk-off. Put it in the clip right here, Nick. I love that, all right? Awesome. But, obviously, Jody already talked about that. She talked about Camphor on the Ireland side. What did I like outside of Camphor? There wasn't much like. I got to be candid. I got to be honest. Here's the reality. My man, you better get him like 2 hydrocodone or ibuprofen, something, because my man's back is broken after carrying that whole team. He literally carried that whole team. He's hurt. He's aching right now. Get him some pain meds, all right? But realistically, that dive by, is it Tator? I forgot how to say that now.
Hector.
They're getting blown out. But if I'm a coach, I'm sitting back, and I've done this many times. It's what you do when you're down. And I'm watching everyone's body language. Are they still playing it? Or are they playing hard? Or are they mailing it in? You don't run and dive to save a boundary. What was the difference between a 3 or 4 at that point? It's, the writing's on the wall. This game is over. But I'm watching that guy and saying, you know what? He's a gamer. So I got to give him credit for that. He's a gamer. And even though Ireland got thoroughly smacked, they did. I'm sorry. I felt like they had fight in them. More fight so that even I saw in the West Indies that very late. And I'm a West Indies fan. This isn't go kill them West Indies. No. I'm a West Indies fan. But they just had fight. You know what I'm saying? You saw guys diving for balls. You saw guys trying to all out. They were just thoroughly outclassed. Bottom line, they were thoroughly outclassed. So I really can't fault them for that. But that's what I liked on the Ireland side. I know I'm trying to say it like Jody on the Ireland side. Okay. On the English side, what's not to like? Bro, here's the thing about England. Their bowling attack is what carries them, really, because you put so much pressure on the other side once you get them out early, because they're like, oh my gosh, now. And I think it even takes pressure off of the batsmen. Realistically, outside of Stokes, okay, everybody on and we're talking about in that first test series we saw, batted average. You guys I think you got one other guy that got a Sibley, right? Had 120, but for the most of them had 60s, 50s, 70s. It wasn't like they had guys that are putting up big numbers all the time, but their bowling carries them. And once again, out of the gate, it was like 4 for 1, right? Here comes Roy. Give me that wicket. Thank you for that. You know what I'm saying? Then after that, you had, what's the boy's name? The spinner.
Will, wait, are you thinking about the England side? Willie, the guy that got 4 wickets or no?
Yeah. Well, no. The spinner is the guy with the beard, and I was gonna leave
Oh,
with
we got Ali, we got Mahmoud.
Mahmoud got himself a wicket. Actually, I think he got 2 wickets, 1 or 2, I can't remember. But Mahmoud, I love his spinning delivery. He's got that spin too, where he holds the ball instead of holding it this way, he holds it this way when he throws it. Super cool. I love that spinning delivery. I think I liked out of all the spinners I've seen, talking about in the first test match with West Indies and even now with this first ODI, he's been my favorite spinner. And then yes, Willie with the Pfeiffer today, with the Michelle Pfeiffer in an ODI match. Oh, daddy. And this thing flew by. I was like, it's over already? I plan to be here till at least 3 o'clock. You know what I mean? It's over already. So, for me, I gotta say, England's bowling attack is awesome. Their bowling coaches out there know what they're doing, obviously. And good on you. Good on you to them.
All right, so let's jump into what did we learn. Gabe, we'll have you start off. What did you learn from this ODI match?
Okay, from this ODI match, what I learned is that unfortunately, there's a huge disparity in cricket between the haves and the have-nots. Warning, ICC, we are nobody. I'm being honest. And I'm not trying to kill you, Jody, here. I know you love your Ireland squad, but the NBA has lost popularity. You and I both know this, Nick. Why? Because after they started forming super teams, really it's been wherever LeBron is going and wherever, 2 or 3 players go, and that's it. We saw in the NBA the same teams. It was the Cavs, and then after the Cavs, it was Miami Heat because of LeBron. And then, of course, the Golden State Warriors. That's not good for the sport when there's so much disparity there, because the other fans got to have something to root for. And at least here in America, the NBA lost popularity because of that. At one point, NBA was number 2 right behind baseball. Now in popularity, it's NFL, NBA barely, and MLB, okay? Of course, hockey's 4th on the list. I think that the ICC needs to take a look at it and see how they distribute funds. They got to make it more equitable so that you can give other countries more resources so that they can build better programs. Because nobody wants to see, let's be honest, even in the chat they were saying, this wasn't a competitive match. You don't want all your matches to turn out that way. And again, if we were talking about 1 and 30, that's one thing. We're talking about 1 and 11. You're telling me there's that huge of a disparity between 1 and 11? Come on. That's what I learned. And, honestly, on both sides, I think that's what I learned. That's going to be my comment on both England and both the West Indies. I think ICC has to figure out how to make it more competitive and, maybe revenue sharing so that nations can split the money equitably. And that way we can have better performances all around.
I'm biting my tongue with the whole disparity of monies coming from a Yankees fan.
Give it to me. But, yeah, I know what you're gonna say. Give it to me,
dude. I can't tell you how many years the Padres payroll was 40 million and the Yankees payroll was 200, 225, and the Yankees were at the first place every single year. The Padres were in last place. That's all I'm gonna say right there. I agree. You want to have parity in sports, not just with the money, but with the competition, with the free agents, everything. It makes the sport much better. And cricket. I was talking to Renell about this on Instagram. There's a problem. There's a problem with her West Indies and a team like England where you have that disparity of the funds. What did I learn from my very first ODI match, was that it's so much faster. It's enjoyable that way to have it so much faster. I still love Test cricket, but I thought ODI was fun, even though it wasn't really the most competitive game. And that was, I think, the thing that was kind of missing in my excitement for this match. But what I learned was that Ireland's got a ways to go, but they got this young kid, Camphor. I mean, how is he your best player? And it was his debut match. I mean, they got a long ways to go, but from what I've been hearing from the fans, they've came a long way. So they're just in that process. What I learned about the England side is that England, they're in a really good place with their cricket. They're in a really good place with their test and with their ODI that we've seen so far. And again, we keep saying it, their B team. They have serious competition in all positions, in all facets of the game. They're obviously coached very well. They have good captains in place, and they're in a very, very good place. As any England fans out there, you've got to be feeling just really, really good about it. You feel secure, like you have that blanket with you when you're going to bed as a kid, that you know you're going to be safe because they're in really, really good hands. And, I learned a lot about ODI cricket. We had the power plays, which we knew nothing about it. Now we know about it. So those are a few of the things I learned.
Oh, my turn?
Yes.
Well,
save the best for last.
No. I just didn't want to interrupt. I think for me, it's hard because everybody said the first test match that I watched was like a really bad one to watch with England versus West Indies. And then everybody kept saying with today's ODI, it was a really bad one to watch. So like, I really want to see what's a good one, like what's a good match. But I definitely learned that I think I will love T20s because even today it felt like a little long and it ended early. Like at the end, like when our kids needed us,
Super early.
I was like, and then I got a phone call at one point. I was like, oh, good. Whew, I could take a little bit of a break. But I did enjoy it.
You're right. T20 is going to be more American style. And if it's going to succeed here in the States, it's got to be T20. It's got to be that quicker pace. I don't mind. Like I said, I watched 2 baseball games back to back yesterday. Knicks game and my game, Yankees and Padres. That was, 7 plus 8 hours of baseball. You know what I mean? And I'm loving it. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But, I will say this, though, to your point, Jody, if these are the first 2 games we're getting and we were still entertained, we were still watching it, we still got to see some big sixes today, and these are considered bad games, I cannot wait for a great game. And could you just imagine if the excitement was the last over, maybe the last 6 balls, even if it was last ball, and they finish it, like you said, on that walk-off. That's the way to end it. You're chasing 5 runs. That would be much more exciting. You know what I mean? So definitely, I see some of those in the future. But, good observation there, Love.
Yeah, I think it would be even more exciting if the game was closer. Like if Ireland had scored more runs. And like you really weren't sure if England was going to get there because it's like the way England was going, we're like, it's going to be over soon. They're going to get this.
I just want to show everyone that this is still here. Just want to.
It's sitting right next to him. Apparently, next to me was too far away because it's got to be right next to him.
It's just, it just feels better.
I can just imagine it now. Jody, move over. The bat needs more space. Jody, get on your side of the bed.
I don't want you to get splinters. That's why. We hope you enjoy our 3 wickets. Let us know what your 3 wickets are. We will be back and hopefully better than ever on Saturday. Don't forget to let us know what you thought about this ODI match. Let us know what are some of the things that we missed. Please correct us on any of the errors that we had. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. If you are, we got a lot of these R3 wickets already published and on the channel. But with all that being said,
until next time.
Yeah, exactly.